Senator from Pennsylvania.
Mr. President, I want to echo the message of the senator from Georgia. This is a terrific opportunity. This is a very big day. It's a big step forward on our path to restoring the economic growth that we've been waiting for all this time. I am really excited about this step forward and the remainder of the process to get this done, to get this bill signed into law. Why do we need this? Mr. President, we've just lived through the weakest recovery in American history. Feeble growth, stagnant wages, and a widening gap between the wealthy and the poor. That's what's been happening for years. Now, some people say, well, that's just the way it is. You just need to get used to it. That's the new normal. That's what America's about now. Mr. President, that is complete nonsense. There is nothing inevitable about the American economy being weak and denying opportunity for the people that we represent. It's a direct result of bad policy, failed policy that prevented us from having the recovery that we would normally have after a recession. What was that policy? Well, we saw it. It's very clear. It's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of fact that productivity growth in America collapsed. It's a matter of fact that investment in the kind of new plants and equipment that allow for productivity to grow collapsed. It's a fact that new business startups just dried up. People weren't able and willing to do it. There's no mystery about why our economy was so weak for so many years. We had imposed conditions that made it impossible to have the kind of growth that's normal. And meanwhile, what was happening in the rest of the world? The rest of the world was systematically making their tax codes more competitive. The countries that we compete with around the world in Europe and Asia, they were lowering the rates that they applied to business income. They were simplifying their codes, and they were moving to international systems that made it more conducive for them to generate investment into their countries, while we did nothing except let our tax code just ossify. That's what's been happening these last many years, Mr. President, and what I'm excited about is this bill fixes exactly what's broken. This bill goes to exactly where the problem is and begins to turn this around. So how do we do that? One of the things that we do, a hallmark of this bill, is we're going to lower the cost of investing in the new plants and equipment that will allow American workers to become more productive. More productive workers get paid more in wages. That's just a fact. That's what's going to happen as a result of this bill. Another thing that we do in this bill is we get away from this terrible policy we have that's resulting in foreign companies buying up American companies. The way we treat income earned overseas is a disaster, and we're the only country in the world that does it. I think you could make a case that today the United States has what might very well be the least attractive tax regime in the modern world, in the industrialized world. And what's really exciting about this, Mr. President, is we're going to move from this system to what just might be the best tax system in the industrialized world. Think about the result that's going to have. The result is going to be, I think, breathtaking. New investment, new businesses being launched, existing business growing. Take foreign direct investment alone. You know, if you think about it, we've got a global economy. Capital can move around the world with literally the click of a mouse, and people make investment decisions based on the climate of the place they're thinking about investing in. When you've got the worst tax regime in the world, who really wants to invest here? When we've got the best, how are we not going to attract investment from all around the world, including very much in the United States? So the changes we're making are exactly the right changes for this moment. But that's true in another respect, Mr. President, and that is if you think about where we are in this cycle. It's taken way, way too long to get here, but the unemployment rate is quite low now. We're getting close to full employment. So what happens when we create the incentives for business to grow, to invest, new businesses to launch, people to invest in America? What happens when that occurs in an environment where the unemployment rate is very low? It sets up a bidding war for workers. There's no other choice. These businesses, as they grow, they need new employees to get this job done. They have to pay ever more because they're competing with another business down the road that also wants to grow, also wants to invest in new plants and equipment. What we're going to do is create a bidding war for workers. That means wages are going up. And when wages go up, families have more take-home pay. And when they have more take-home pay, they have a higher standard of living. This is exactly how people have a chance to live the American dream. When the economy is thriving and growing at the rate that America used to take for granted. Well, Mr. President, I'm here to say those days are coming back. We've got some work to do. We're not done yet by any means, but I am confident we're going to get this done. And when we do, our constituents are going to live a better life as a result. I yield the floor.